Namaskaram. We will continue with sample questions from text files. We have already covered character based questions and also word based questions. Next we will see some questions based on lines. In line processing you can expect questions like line starts with some character, line ends with some character, lines which contain some character or substrings, lines which do not contain some character, and also read line by line and process the words in it. First question. Write a function in Python to read the content from a text file message.txt line by line. Then count and display number of A, the character A, in each line along with line number. Line based questions, as we discussed earlier, we can do in different ways. You can do using read line, using read lines and also using file handle. And I feel the easiest method as using file handle. So we will proceed with that. Function name is not given. So I will just give the name as display. Then open the file in read mode. F equal to open file name message.txt. Then we have to display line number along with the count. So initialize a variable for line number n equal to 0. Then traverse through the file using file handle, using for loop, for line in F. In each iteration a line is read from the file and stored in variable line. Then increment the line count n equal to n plus 1. Then we have to count the number of A. See, the line which is stored in variable line is in the form of a string. So I can use the count function for counting. Cnt equal to line, that is our string, dot count of, what do you have to count? The character A. Now the line number is there in variable n and count is there in variable cnt. Next I have to display the line number and the count. Print line number, then just put a colon, then cnt, count. At last close the file. Okay, so open the file, then initialize a variable for line number, then traverse through the file line by line, then inside the for loop increment the line number, then use the method count to count the number of A, and the result is stored in variable cnt, then display the count along with the line number. I will just execute and show you. Display function, execute. First line 6 is, second line 2, third line 4, fourth line 2 and fifth line 1. Then see the content of my text file. Okay, then if it is case insensitive counting, then you have to count the capital letter A separately and print the total count. If it is count the number of A or T, then also you have to count separately. Then the same question you can do using if statement also. When we do the program using if statement, you have to initialize a variable for counting. Cnt equal to 0. Then instead of count function we will use if statement and count. If A in line, if the character A is in the line which is stored in variable line, increment the count. Count equal to count plus 1, count plus equal to 1. Then print line number and count. Then if you want to check capital letter A also, then here you can give or capital letter A. Next question. Write a function starts with in Python to read the content from a text file diary.txt line by line and display the lines which starts with M or D. Okay, the function starts with, then open the file diary.txt. In read mode, then here no counting, Then next is traverse through the file using file handle for line in F. The line which is stored in variable line is in the form of a string. So to access the first character of that string, you can use if line of 0. That is the first character. If it is M, capital M, or line of 0, again line of 0 equal to D. So if the first character of the line is M or D, or if it starts with M or D, print that line. Print line. Then close the file. F dot close. And again, if it is specified as do not consider case, you have to give line of 0 dot upper. Call the function upper to convert into uppercase. Here also dot upper. Clear? About the case, usually it will be mentioned in your question. Otherwise, they will give an example. Then if you check that example clearly, you can identify whether it is case sensitive or case insensitive. Whether you have to consider case or not. Then the next question, write a function ends with to read the content from a text file diary.txt line by line and display the lines which ends with M or D. Suppose. Then the same program we can modify. Ends with, you have to change the checking, line of -1. Last character of that string or the line. Okay. -1. Next question. Write a function not contained in Python to read the content from a text file message.txt line by line and display the lines which do not contain the character E. Function not contained. Open the file in read mode. Then here no need of any counting. So next step is traverse through the file using file handle for line in F. What you have to check? Whether E is there in that line. How to check? If E in line, if it is there in line, display that line. Print line. Then close the file. F dot close. Then the question is display the lines which do not contain the character E. So what you have to check? If E, character E, not in line. Print line. Okay. Then close the file. Okay. If the question is like this, write a function not contained in Python to read the content from a text file message.txt line by line and display the words which do not contain the character E. Suppose the question is like this. Then how to do? You have to read line by line and also you have to process words. So open the file, then traverse through the file line by line. Split that line into words. Words equal to line dot split. That is, the variable line contains a line in the form of a string, and that string, that line is split into words using split function. Now words contains a list of words. Then you have to traverse through that list using for loop again. For W in words, just like what we have done in word processing, for W in words. Then what to check? If E not in W. Then print that word W. Once again, read a line from the file. Then split that line into words. Now words are there in variable words in the form of a list. Then traverse through that list for W in words. And each word from that list is stored in variable W. Then check whether E is there in word which is stored in variable W. If it is there, print that word. One more question. Write a function display in Python to read the content from a text file message.txt line by line and display the number of words and in that file. Do not consider case. Okay. Function display. Open the file. Initialize the variable count. Then traverse through the file line by line. Then words equal to line dot split. Split into words. Split the line into words. Traverse through the list. Then check if that word is and. Case is not considered, so you have to give W dot lower. Then if it is and, increment the count. Then at last print count. Here it is total number of and in that file. So you have to give the print statement outside the for loop. That is in the same line of for loop. Okay, we have discussed character based questions, word based questions and also line based questions. You can use read function for both character based questions and also word based questions. If it is character based question, read the content of the file using read function. Then you have to traverse through the string returned by the read function. Then process character by character. If the question is related to words, then you have to read the content of the file using read function, split into words, then traverse through the list which is returned by split function. Result of split function is a list. And again, in word processing itself, if it is specified read line by line, then you have to read line by line and split that line into words. Then process the words as we discussed. Okay. Then line by line reading you can do using file handle.